Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to our Q3 2022 Cireson customer webinar. Thanks for joining so promptly. I'll give it another minute or so. We're just over time, 2 minutes after the top of the hour, and we'll get things rolling here. And I'll just do some basic housekeeping while I'm here. We've got an hour window approximately with this webinar. We'll have some time. We're trying to carve out some time at the end for some Q&A. We're happy to get your questions. We're obviously using a different format here. We're using Teams, so you can certainly submit your questions. If you don't want to be called out and such, you can just put anon or no name, and I'll just read the questions out. And we'll get through any of the Q&A questions. If they're relevant to where we are in the presentation, I may call on them just to be answered there and then. If not, we'll have some time at the end. And if it's something a bit more involved or maybe specific to your environment or your particular need, then we can certainly take those offline and we'll do our very best to get an answer back to you within a timely fashion. We're middle of the week now, so certainly by the end of the week, we should get something back to you. So, with that said, I just want to, again, welcome everyone to the webinar. It is being recorded, so if you've got colleagues that are unable to attend or come in late, they can get the recording as well. And I'll just run through our sort of our lineup and what we're doing today. So essentially, we want to use this platform to inform and enlighten our customers on, the best that Cireson has to offer. And also, we want to build on our last quarterly webinar, which essentially was the Innovate presentation, where we had a lot more involvement in terms of the presentations and, sort of day-long share in terms of what we're doing. And we introduced a lot of innovative products and services within the Cireson ecosystem. And we'll be touching on some of those again through this webinar today. And also the other thing that is key, the heart of Cireson, is to release productivity within organizations that we serve. So regardless of what application you use from the whole range of Cireson products, we want to make sure that you're getting the most efficiency out of it, the least amount of clicks, as fast as it can be, and just as effective as it can be for your environment. So that's always in the sort of the forefront of what we deliver with regards to our product range. But we're in technology, so we know that it's technology is tricky, it's difficult, it's hard to implement sometimes. We get a sense of solutions not fitting together and jiving well. Often it's easier said than done. Senior management wants something done because they saw an advert for it, and the people who have to deliver on that solution could actually have a hard time delivering what was said on the tin. And our goal really, again at Cireson, is to build in success as you build your solution. And so whether it's fail fast, incremental solutions that allow you to get wins along the way is really key for us to make sure that you're as effective as possible. So today we want to make sure that people, come away with an action. It's all very well sitting in front of a screen, watching Ciresonites share stuff. It's a common format we all have, but I want to task this audience with a takeaway, which is to ask one question. Whether you ask us in the seminar, in the webinar, that's fine. Whether you post it to any of the email addresses for contacting any of us that are presented today. But whatever you do, ask a question. How much, how many, where, how, whatever it is, get a question out. Usually these are other questions, but get one out. Also, go deeper. What we're going to cover today is really just going to be the surface of what we can offer. And it's really important to just take the extra step to go a bit deeper. It's like going to an ocean and just swimming on the top where you could be snorkeling or scuba diving. You want to just get beyond the surface in terms of the offerings that we have today. And also, on that note, take off the blinkers. Sometimes we get siloed in terms of how we think of technology and solutions. And I think you'll see from the webinar today that there is a lot of scope in terms of delivering what our customers need, what people need in order to be effective and productive in their organizations. So it does require sometimes thinking outside the box, and taking those blinkers off. So that is really my charge for the audience today. And then let's meet the team. So we've got on the webinar today, myself, Steve Wright. I'm the Customer Experience Manager. I'm assuming most people have heard or spoken to me or got an email from me. Anything that involves the experience with Cireson, I want to be sort of in the mix somewhere. I'm not always fixing things, but I just want to be aware of how Cireson is showing up in your business. And then along myself, we've got Marcus Bauer, Adam Dezaki, and Jeff Ross. Adam, product lead, Marcus and Jeff, professional services gurus. They don't like that word, but they just come off camera to say hi. And they'll be presenting portions of the webinar today. So, hey guys, good morning, good afternoon.
Hey everyone.
Okay, so just before we get into that, I just want to go through our agenda real quick. We'll be starting off with the product environment, our product roadmap. Adam Zaki will lead us through that. And also we'll have a demo as well in terms of how extensible solutions can be made within the SMP space with the use of Power Automate tools. So I think it's a great segue in terms of what we're building on the roadmap with the product, and also an example of what we can do to extend functionality. And then we'll sort of pivot a little bit into our professional services world. And really, the professional services are the people that deliver the solutions. They're where the rubber meets the road and getting things in and built and ready for customers. So Marcus and Jeff will be walking us through that. And also we'll have a demonstration on how they deliver solutions within an integration platform, integration model of Tikit and SMP, Cireson portal, the Cireson portal. And then we'll wrap up with Q&A. And if we didn't get to something that you wanted to ask, the Q&A is certainly the place to do that. I'll be fielding those questions as they come in, and I'll just read them out to the audience so we can get an answer from the panel. And then, as I said, if there's anything we can't get to or we didn't get a chance to get to, we will definitely get back to you after the webinar. So on that note, I'm just going to turn over to product roadmap and introduce Adam.
Thanks, Steve. I guess it's my turn now, so let me take control of this real quick. And there we go. All right, so let's talk about the product roadmap, and let's talk about everything that we've accomplished thus far this year, where we are right now, what we have left, and also a look into 2023. So to kind of catch things up to speed and where we've come so far this year in 2022, probably the first big one, and I think it's the one that I think the overwhelming majority of our customers have been the most excited about, has been the release of Analytics Archiver. And Analytics Archiver first went to latest. It is now available on baseline. And again, if you're not aware of what Analytics Archiver is, it allows you and enables you to keep all of your data in Service Manager, no matter how old it is, no matter how long you've had it, you can safely keep it inside of Analytics. You can lower your data retention settings inside of Service Manager, and in doing so, radically improve your Service Manager performance. So we've heard a lot of really great things about this leading up to it, during, and then again, even now. And if you don't have it, again, it's on baseline. Please go get it. Start using it. I promise you, you will love it. In the same way that I've heard from a lot of our customers that they love it as well. We've also released two Service Manager console apps, Notification Activity and Delay Activity. And Delay Activity and Notification Activity are both ways to either notify in a far simpler fashion or to schedule delay an event from occurring at a specific date and time. And both of these can happen entirely without Microsoft System Center Orchestrator. So if you don't want to write runbooks to build a simple notification, or you don't want a runbook always running, waiting for a certain date time to arrive, that's what both of these are for. And again, they are both available right now, so you can go download them. If you haven't already, please do. And then up next, we've also introduced a couple other small features. Well, I say small, that's probably incorrect. A few other features to the Service Manager portal. The next one being that we now preserve and respect all of your IIS configuration settings. And really what this means for you is that you can now upgrade and deploy the portal faster without having to go back and edit and tweak some of those smaller IIS settings. If anything, maybe you could use PowerShell activity, delay activity, and schedule the deployment or an upgrade of your portal silently in the background. That's probably a webinar we probably should go do. We've also managed to get global search out of beta. Again, if you're not using global search, if you've not seen global search is the new means by which the portal runs its search against all of your work items, all of your configuration items, and even honors all of those class extensions. So if you have made extensions to some of those, whether it be the incident class, the asset classes, or even introduced your own classes, there's now a way to search and find all of them. And again, that is now out of beta and available on baseline and latest as well. And then last, we also added a new way to control activities inside of the portal, in that now you can add a review or a manual activity to an already in progress parallel activity. This is something you could not previously do, but again, it's now a feature that's there in the portal. And most recently, and kind of bringing us up to where we are right now and where we're going to be going shortly with the rest of the roadmap, is updates that we've made to Cloud Connector to make it easier to retrieve all of the users in your organization or retrieve them by their email address, retrieving any enum outside of Service Manager, and also the ability to leave a comment on any work item you want through a single REST call to the portal. So whether it's an incident, whether it's a problem, a change, release, whatever, we will handle all of that. So one call, pass the work item ID, and you can immediately add a comment. It could not be simpler. And something else I wanted to touch on as I'm going through this, for those of you that joined a little bit late, again, you're free to ask questions whenever you would like throughout this webinar. We're going to dedicate a section at the end to answering them, but if something comes up and you want to post it out there, please do so. And let's talk about the roadmap. Now let's talk about what's left for this year and also looking into 2023. So as far as what's left, I want to start with probably the two biggest items, and the first of which is support for Service Manager 2022. This is something we are currently in the midst of wrapping QA on. We found a few things, nothing too big, but we're just ironing out some last minute compatibility with Service Manager 2022, and then we'll be able to formally support that. And we know this is a question that several of our customers have been asking us in terms of is it going to be there? Will you do it? When is it going to happen? Again, we're looking to wrap this up relatively soon. So if you're racing to get to 2022, we are almost there. Up next is also something we announced at Innovate earlier this year, and we are now in the midst of Microsoft approval on, which is support for the official Service Manager portal Power Automate connector. Bit wordy, so allow me to repeat that. We are currently in the midst of pending approval for the Power Automate connector for the Cireson Service Manager portal. And what this means is that you could go to Microsoft Power Automate, you could find the Service Manager portal triggers and actions in their gallery, and then immediately begin to use them. Now, while we are in the midst of approval, nothing technically stops you from side loading that connector. So if you are interested and you're really itching to try out the Power Automate connector for Service Manager, please reach out to me. I can absolutely get it over to you, and you can side load it into your respective Power App tenant. Now, the two other features that we have on deck for the rest of the year are introducing support for quick actions and the work item grids, and making that extensible for really anyone to be able to add their own quick actions in a grid. And then the second and again, this was also announced at Innovate earlier this year, was the introduction of cloud activity. And the idea with cloud activity is that we want to have a single activity that allows you to pivot between really kind of any number of automation systems that you may decide that you want to use, or better yet, you decide you want to change in the middle of a process. And the other thing that cloud activity will do, apart from being able to run on all the major work item types, is that it will allow you to execute a PowerShell activity on an incident. So that's something I know that people have asked for, but it's also our opportunity to, again, further extend Service Manager with kind of this new automation space. Now, as far as looking into 2023 and into that year, we're looking at things such as making sure that we further extend the bulk edit capabilities of the Service Manager portal. Another request that I've seen come up as a result of the archiver is, when can I search the archiver? And so something that we are already now planning and discussing is enabling global search to find work items from the archive without, again, having to understand that technical nuance. Just punch in the work item ID or something, and then you would get that back. Also, improvements to knowledge articles through templating. Looking at making a few tweaks to the Notify Analyst app, such as not including pending work items, further extensibility with the watch list. And again, something I think an area for improvement is this idea of like a timeline view. And so the idea being, if you're on a service request or you're on a change request, right, something with like an extensive amount of activities, wouldn't it be great that when you view the history of that work item, it just aggregated the parent work item and all of its activities into a single thread, so that if you had to troubleshoot, if you had to investigate, if you had to really just kind of see the details, you don't have to bounce between each and individual work item or each and every individual activity. You just saw them in one consolidated view. So that's just some of the stuff that we have planned. Again, you can also see some items up for consideration. But if there's something you don't see here, if there's something you'd rather see moved up ahead of schedule, I think is something that we need to do immediately beginning in 2023. As always, please reach out to me. We are more than flexible about this. I very much want to hear from you. So if you have ideas, if you have another way you'd prefer to see this, please let me know. And what I want to get to next is how we can actually extend Service Manager with Power Automate. Again, the connector that we're currently pending Microsoft approval for. So Power Automate, for the uninitiated, in case you're not familiar with it, is Microsoft's automation platform within Microsoft 365 that allows you to really kind of seize control of all of the automation without having to require any of the infrastructure to support it. And what it allows you to do is really integrate with any number of solutions. And so these are just a few of the connectors that Microsoft has made available within Power Automate. So you can see that there's actually a bunch of connectors to even non-Microsoft technologies. And again, this is what makes Power Platform and Power Automate so, I hate to say it, powerful, but you get me. So what I want to do first is I want to talk about some of the triggers that are going to be available in the Service Manager Power Automate connector. And the two triggers that we have are when a new comment is added and when a new work item is created. And I mean, that's it. It really could not be simpler here. Anytime a comment is added to any work item, this would trigger. Anytime a work item is created, this would trigger. And this is how you can start a flow. And that's what triggers are for. Now, in terms of actions, actions is where we have everything you'd probably expect. I should be able to create any of the major work item types: incident, problem, change, release, service request. I should be able to update any of those major work item types. But I also have three other actions that I have here. I can get a work item, right? If I want to get what that object is and analyze it, or use it in some downstream activity, or pick out a property I want to use. I can delete, I can hard delete a work item out of Service Manager, and I can add a comment to any work item I want within Service Manager as far as my actions go within Power Automate. So let's talk about some examples of how we could now use this. Well, the very first one, maybe I want to create a reoccurring piece of work. I want to create a service request every month that assigns something out to one of my analysts, or me in this case, that says, hey, go check on the inventory, make sure we have an available stock that we can, draw from. And so with the Power Automate connector, I can now create a reoccurring schedule that automatically builds a service request. Now, that's useful for a service request nature. Maybe I wanted to make it a reoccurring change request, for patching or something. But what about something for an incident nature? Well, for the incident side of things, and I wanted to be a little bit more extensive in like where you could go with this inside of Power Automate. Again, just as an example to show you what kind of connections are out there. Maybe I want to create a reoccurring job every day or week or month that submits a couple email addresses over to the service known as Have I Been Pwned? And the idea with Have I Been Pwned, in case you're not familiar, is a service that actually lets you know if your email address has been associated in a data breach. And so you can imagine, maybe I want to build a very simple workflow in Power Automate that says, have a couple email addresses, have some sensitive email addresses in my organization. I want to check those every single week or month to see if they've been part of a breach. And if they have, I would now want to create an incident inside of Service Manager and assign that out to somebody. So again, just another, I think, great example of some of the extensibility that exists inside of Power Automate, and that what's available with the Service Manager Power Automate connector that you could now take advantage of. So with all that said, I want to turn things over to Marcus in Professional Services to take it from here. Marcus.
Thanks, Adam. Some cool and exciting stuff you have going there. Let me take control here real quick. All right. Once again, thanks to everyone for joining this webinar. My name is Marcus Bauer. I head up the PSS group here at Cireson, and I'm joined by Jeff Ross, who as Service Delivery Manager ensures that all of our customer projects are properly scoped and implemented. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Marcus. How you doing? Hey, everyone. Nice to see you all on the webinar today. Great to see lots of familiar names, but also great to see some new names. So looking forward to talking to you all today.
Cool. So in the next couple of minutes, Jeff and I will be talking about how we here at Cireson, how we layer service offerings on top of our product portfolio. So for this webinar, we've chosen 3 topics as shown here on this slide, how Cireson consultants can help you maximize the value of your IT investment. Obviously, our consulting practice is probably the one part of Cireson's business that you're most familiar with, except for the product, obviously. We'll also talk about how expertise in customer interactions coming out of these consulting projects led to the creation of Cireson's add-in framework. And lastly, how customers can leverage Cireson consultants and engineers for operational assistance of their ITSM platform. I'm getting some notifications here that the deck is not visible. Jeff, is it working for you?
Yeah, it is. Why don't we just quickly stop sharing and reshare and make sure everyone can see this.
Let's do this. Apologies to everyone for these technical difficulties. This should be it. We back online?
Yep, we see the first slide if you want to progress it to where you were. There we go, we're with you now.
All right. Again, my apologies for the technical difficulties here. So again, as I mentioned, we've chosen these three topics for our presentation here about the PSS group, and we'll get into the details in the following slides. So talking about Cireson's consulting group, the implementation of back-office ITSM systems, in our particular case, obviously Cireson Service Manager portal and Microsoft System Center Service Manager, can, depending on the organization's specific requirements, become fairly complex. And I'm probably preaching to the choir here. These are not simple software products like Word or Excel, where you just click next, finished, and then you start using them. The deployment of an ITSM platform with an organization requires a thorough understanding of the business objectives, since you're using IT service management business processes here, and then subsequently, obviously, how information technology, and namely the ITSM platform itself, can be used to augment, streamline, and ideally even automate these processes. This is where the PSS group engages. Here at Cireson, the professional services group, includes our frontline support team as well as our Cireson consultants engaged in on-premise projects such as migrations or systems integrations. Thus, the second S in PSS, it's the product support and services group. Support services and consulting services together form our foundation for a holistic approach to our service delivery. The PSS team has been engaged in the last over 10 years in over 600 projects with more than 50,000 hours of project work delivered. And in these projects, the team has gained exceptional experience and expertise, not just in the Microsoft System Center stack, but across many different systems and different vendors also through integration activities and such. These projects include, just to name a few, implementation of business processes, integration of cloud and on-prem based systems into the ITSM platform infrastructure, as well as new deployments, migrations, and other general performance improvement activities and the such. As a result, our PSS team has become not just Cireson and Microsoft Service Manager specialists, but they have become ITSM experts. Or putting in slightly different words, and all of the North American audience will recognize this line that I'm shamelessly stealing. We know a lot because we've seen a lot. Or actually, Jeff prefers a different line, don't you, Jeff?
Yes. Well, I just, as Mark was saying, a lot of years of experience here on the team. I could compliment some individuals with how much experience they bring, but there's a risk that that might come across as an insult to how long they've been in the business. But yeah, we tried to total it up, the amount of years experience across the team on ITSM, and you can see 75 or probably more. We had to estimate some ages, years experience there. And that really means that we just know ITSM very, very well. Not just the kind of the theory and how it all works kind of in the textbook, but how it applies to the real world, how it applies to real organizations where things are not quite as clear cut as we like them to be. So we really know how to make the tool work for you, as we've got on the top of this slide. And those of you that know me, that have heard me speak before, know my catchphrase, anything is possible. And I really do believe that about Service Manager and Cireson. We have the expertise to make those products more efficient for you, to suit your organization's processes, align them to your particular goals, whatever you're trying to achieve with these tools. We've got the ability and the experience and the expertise to do that. Whatever it is, whatever frustrates you about the system, whatever sort of bugs you, we can get that changed. We can make it more efficient by turning a 5-click process into 1 click. We can give your analysts, and probably more importantly your end users, that better, richer experience. So yeah, if any of that kind of resonates with you, if that's something that you think we can help you with, then please reach out, because yeah, we'd love to help you to do those things in your organization. That takes me on to my next slide. Actually, let me just pass this on here. Thank you. Of talking about add-ins, and really, you know, everything I just said kind of explains and gives you the backstory and the reason for add-ins. We took all that expertise, we took all that experience, we took that kind of depth of knowledge of our customers, you know, which we get from hearing feedback from all of you, and we used that to build this selection of freely available, predefined, pre-configured customizations that you can deploy into your portals. Because we know that as much as we love talking about code and getting deep into the weeds of JavaScript, we know that not everyone wants to do that. We know not everyone can do that. So we want to help you to benefit from our experience even without doing that, and that's where add-ins come in. These are pre-bundled, pre-made customizations that you can plug in to your portal to give you this extra functionality. We've got 10 add-ins available today, as you can see from the slide here. We've got a link at the bottom there, which we'll also include when we send out the recording of this webinar, so you don't need to jot it down necessarily. That's where you can go to read more about these add-ins and download them from as well. So from that link. We've got a range of different kind of add-ins here. We've got some that, you know, add whole new functionality that isn't there before. We've got some that make a process simpler or quicker or more efficient. Some that just make the whole process a little bit smoother and kind of iron out some possible frustrations for certain customers, depending on the situation. Yeah, I just want to sort of thank the community really, because it's your feedback, it's your responses that kind of shape these add-ins, that made these possible. And I'm really excited today to also mention we've got 3 new add-ins that are going to be available in Q3 and Q4 this year. Hopefully all in Q3. We're just working on exact timescales. We're going to get these out to you as soon as possible. So there's 3 new to talk about. The first one, very exciting, is the homepage widgets. Those of you active in our community may know about this already. These are a collection of new widgets that plug straight into the Cireson dashboard pages. When you build and design your own pages, they give you widgets that support the kind of building of a custom homepage. So that allows you to, in a no-code way, design a new homepage that suits your organization, how you want it to build up. I've got 3 just on my screenshot here. I've got the catalog browser that allows your users to kind of browse through the catalog, category, then service offering, then request offering, that kind of drill down structure that a lot of customers seem to want. We've got top requests, so that you can kind of highlight our key offerings there. And even a little My Request widget. So an end user, when they get to the homepage, right there on the homepage, along with the offerings, they've got a kind of quick display of their open tickets so they can see what's going on with them at a glance. There's more than just these 3. There's a welcome message, which is customizable. There's stuff around knowledge articles as well. So there's lots there to make use of it. And what I'm really excited about as well is not just that you can take these new widgets and build a homepage, is that you can even combine these with the existing out-of-the-box widgets to make kind of a really transparent end user facing homepage where you've got your offerings, you've got your knowledge articles, but maybe you've also got some charts, some counters showing you, you know, average response time or number of open tickets currently, so people can be aware of the workload, how long to expect for a response. Some way to kind of, you know, show what's going on in the IT organization out to your end users. I love the idea of that kind of transparency. I know it doesn't work for every organization, but I love the idea that as an end user, I get a little insight as to what's going on in the IT function for my homepage. Okay, so that's the first one of the 3. The next one I'm coming is a page filter widget. And you might start to see a widget kind of theme here with these 3 new add-ins. This one is also another widget to plug into your dashboards that allows you to add a page level filter across all of your charts. So you can have one dashboard with many charts or grids or counters, and then you can have a filter at the top of the page that will apply to all of them in one change. So here I've got these two pie charts, incidents per category, service requests per category. I've got both of these filtered to the application support group. And if I was to change that to the desktop support group, then both my charts, or how many I've got, will all redraw in alignment to that new filter. So this is really great if you want to have this kind of one dashboard that everyone can look at, but they can set that page filter for their particular sort of set of interests, rather than having to recreate the same dashboard multiple times for each support group and then control the access to it and those sorts of things. So that's something to be really exciting, and I'm keen to see again what you, the community, do with that when we get that released very shortly. Third and finally, quite a fun one, I think, but again, really interesting to see what we do with this, is the word cloud widget. Allows you to take data and draw it into a word cloud to try and kind of spot those themes and trends. Very visual way, great for a big screen up on the wall, maybe to, very way to visualize, what's going on in the organization right now in the last day, hour, however you want to kind of draw that data out. Can be used to interpret non-structured data, free text, maybe your incident titles, maybe your even your comments you could throw through this and see what are the kind of keywords that are coming up. You need to probably do some filtering of the kind of non-keywords there, but that'd be really cool to see, is to kind of see those common themes that are bubbling up from your end users through comments, something like that. Okay, that's my 3 new widgets. I hope you're really excited to see those. I'm really excited to get those out to you very soon and to hear feedback. As for add-ins, there's more coming. We've got lots planned for 2023, lots of ideas. But again, I want to hear from the community. I want to hear from the customers. What are you guys looking for? What would you like to see? If you've got something you'd love to see given the added treatment, then please do email me and we can discuss if we can make that work. All right, that's it from me. Back to you, Marcus.
Thanks, Jeff. That's very cool stuff. Regarding the anything is possible, also a not very usable but kind of geeky and cool. Steve Toole, one of our consultants, the other day built a little integration where he controlled Philips Hue lights through a workflow, which is that's just to showcase to everyone that really anything is possible here. So again, not very useful, but very geeky. But who knows? Maybe we'll make an app out of it. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Putting you on the spot here. Sorry about that. All right. A little bit as discussed earlier, our final topic in the professional services realm is our Cireson Managed Service Provider Program. So what is the Cireson Managed Service Provider Program, or in short, we call it MSP, and how is it positioned? So in a nutshell, it extends Cireson's services to the final stage of the systems development lifecycle, or SDLC. If you look at the lifecycle of any IT system, and we've kind of depicted that here. Some models use 3 stages, some use 5. It doesn't really matter. The principle is simple. I'm using 4 here: design, plan, build, and run. So if you look at the IT lifecycle of system, you can identify these distinct phases. Again, either 3 or 4 or 5, it doesn't really matter. In the design phase, you identify business problems or gaps and design solutions to address these. After that, you plan the rollout, you identify the effort and the cost, the technical design, and other relevant KPIs. Then you actually deploy the system, here named build. And then lastly, you operate it. Which means patching, the upkeep, monitoring, fixing anything that may come up on the platform itself. At any point in time, when new additions or substantial changes happen, such as major version upgrades or new functionality, you iterate and initiate a new loop, for lack of a better word. That's the little black arrow that kind of goes back to the beginning. The last iteration in the life cycle of a system is then usually the decommissioning of a system, which includes migrations to new or different systems. As you probably know, we here at Cireson, we eat our own dog food. So we actually use SMP as well. So we're intricately familiar with the service management portal and the SCSM backend. Our platform is run by the same ITSM experts who provide support and professional services to our customers. As a result, we believe that we are uniquely qualified to assist our customers in ensuring the health and performance of their ITSM investment in an operational capacity, which is what the managed service provider program focuses on. As shown on this next slide, we've included a bunch of value-add services in the MSP program. In addition, providing operational assistance also gives our consultants the necessary background to determine the effort that may be necessary for potential new integrations or modifications of the ITSM platform, meaning where we engage the consultants to extend, modify, or even upgrade, renew the platform. Even if you're in the last phase of your ITSM platform lifecycle, again, we're talking about ITSM experts here, meaning you may be looking at alternatives, and just heads up, we have a story to tell about that as well. Leaning on our team will enable you to properly assess what and where you may see gaps in your plans, in your future plans, or future potential systems. I also like to point out that the MSP program is not a one-size-fits-all service. Every customer's deployment looks a little bit different, and every customer has different requirements with regards to security posture, compliance topics, or internal process and procedures, just to name a few. So I would encourage everyone to reach out. Let's have a chat, see if MSP is a good fit for you, and see if we can help you out there. Finally, a shameless plug for Steve Wright here on this webinar today, and Justin's Community Open Floor Workshop. Our Open Floor Workshop is our bi-weekly, if you'll pardon the expression, geek out, to where you can ask us anything ITSM or Cireson related, or tell us about any projects you've been working on. If you run into a brick wall, let's have a chat. Grab the refreshment of your choice and spend an hour with us and talk about cool integrations and modifications and what else has been going on. Finally, that
brings things back to me.
Yes, thank you. You took the words out of my mouth. Adam, take it away.
So yeah, all right. So let me make sure I got control here. So thanks, Jeff and Marcus, for showing off some really awesome and amazing add-ins that extend SMP and continue to make the most of your SCSM investments. So if you're really looking to extend SMP even further, that's where Tikit, I would say, comes into play. And Tikit, as you might be aware, is our SaaS offering that we announced earlier this year at Innovate. That is a Microsoft 365 based ticketing solution that matures with your overall 365 adoption. Now, while it is a standalone product, it is also one that can further complement your SMP experience. So while it may look standalone, necessarily isn't. And it does that by first acknowledging that Teams has really kind of become its own support channel of sorts. And you might already be in the position where someone is messaging you on Teams, but then you go to the portal and create a ticket, or maybe someone messages you on Teams and then you don't create a service request for, that small one-off favor that someone asked. And even still, you might be asking yourself, like, another ticketing system, like I gotta manage work in two places. So the real question is, how can we address those 3 points and still add value to our SMP investments? Well, again, it starts by viewing Teams and Tikit as its own support channel, because with Tikit, and specifically its artificial intelligence, maybe you never actually have to answer or manage that request ever again. Maybe you don't need to reply to that. Maybe it's because as you train Tikit and as you scale it up, it learns and continues to improve, which means less work coming your way. But the next question, though, is what about reporting? I mean, it's great that I have less work to manage because, you know, Tikit is going to be deflecting common questions, right? Those aren't going to be coming to you. Tickets aren't going to be getting created. How would I report on that? Because again, as an outsider looking in, it seems as though I now have two distinct data sources. I have Tikit in the cloud. I have SMP on premise. I could use Microsoft Power BI and point at both of those data sources and render them in a single dashboard. Or what you could do is integrate with Microsoft Power Automate. So through Power Automate, as I announced earlier, is, we are currently in the midst of the certification process for our SMP connector, but we have very recently just gotten approval for the Tikit connector. So if you're looking to trial Tikit out, now is a great time, given the fact that Power Automate functionality is now available for Tikit. But before I get too sidetracked here, is that you can imagine that when a ticket is created and it meets some criteria, and specifically in this case, it meets the criteria of deflected, I want to automatically create a closed incident inside of Service Manager, which means you can still continue to manage a single backend database for reporting while taking advantage of the artificial intelligence functionality that Tikit has to offer. And so what I hope you can see as a result of this is that Tikit and SMP can live harmoniously together via Power Automate, or really through any process that you can conjure. And again, the Tikit connector is now generally available. We're soon and in the midst of the process of getting the SMP connector certified. Again, if you're interested in trying it out, we can get that over to you if you'd like to sideload it in your environment. It is compatible and requires at least version 11.7 of the portal. But with all that said, if you have any questions, if you want to know a little bit more about Tikit, how these things can be integrated, what kind of complex or more interesting automations exist within the realm of Power Automate, please reach out to us. And with all of that said, I want to turn things back over to Steve Wright to wrap things up.
I'll come off mute if then you can hear me. Thank you, Adam, for that whistle-stop tour through a use case with regards to Tikit and SMP, and also for Marcus and Jeff just giving us the sort of the lie of the land with regards to professional services. And it's true, the fact that we've been using our own product to support ourselves really does put us in an ideal position to look for the enhancements. We take advantage of all the add-ins and all the features within our own environment, and not only just have them as a tool for customers, but also using them ourselves. I just want to go to a couple of things. Just want to thank. We've got a few minutes, so I'm going to go quickly to Q&A as well. But I want to thank you. Thanks for everyone just attending. Obviously, we've covered a lot of stuff here in terms of the direction and opportunities with regards to the product range and the offerings that we have. I hope you got the message of the fact that we can extend and integrate. Anything is possible, as sort of crazy as that sounds. And also just look out for sort of the exciting opportunities that arise through a Teams-based ticketing stroke deflection tool in the product of Tikit. So certainly, if you've got questions for us on that, definitely reach out to anyone on the team that's presented today. And as I said, ask one question, go deeper, and no blinkers. You don't have to ask today. We've got a few questions I want to just get to real quick before we wrap up at the top of the hour. But certainly, everyone has one question they want to ask, and if you get the first question out, then there's probably a second one behind it. And also, again, reach out to us for sort of live demos and sort of more scenario walkthroughs on anything that we presented today. And again, think outside the box, as the demos really showed, that there is the extensibility in our platform that really does allow you to keep your investment. I mean, the key thing is that you don't need to go to something else, and if you've got a lot of tools within the products that that you know and use already. So with that, let me bear with me a second. I'm just going to just check on the Q&A thread here, and one question came in here. I think that might go to Adam. Do we get Power Automate automatically, or do we have to take action to get it? It's a good point, because it is that extensible platform we need to get into. So, Adam, are you okay with answering that question?
Yeah, totally. So, if you are in Microsoft 365, it's possible that you currently have access to Power Automate already. It's always going to be a question of licensing. Maybe it's currently part of your enterprise licensing, and you simply have it. And if you do, the connectors are just going to be made available. So like I said, the ticket connector should now be available. You should be able to find it inside of the Power Automate gallery. The SMP connector right now is in the midst of approval. So if you want to use it right now, you can reach out to us and we can help you get it loaded. Otherwise, you just have to wait until Microsoft gives the green light, and then it will too appear in the Power Automate gallery.
Okay. So gallery is the place to look for that. Excellent.
Yep.
Another question that came in is, can I upgrade my C+ to MSP? And I think Marcus did touch on the Cireson Plus program as well as the managed services side of things. So, Marcus, can you answer that question?
I can get my microphone unmuted. Yes. Yes, C+ is actually part of the MSP program. That's one of the services that I referred to that kind of are kind of bundled in there, simply because it's in the support aspect is an integral part of the MSP program. So in a nutshell, yes, there is an upgrade path. The details of it are, specific to each customer's specific situation. So I would recommend, reach out, contact me, contact Steve, contact Mike. We'll get you sorted out.
All right. Excellent. That's very cool. And there's another one that's coming around Ticket. Is Ticket extra, or is it included with our SMP renewal? That's interesting. As Adam alluded to, Ticket is a SaaS product, so it's not included as part of the existing support and maintenance coverage, but it is available as a subscription plan. And we're building pricing around sort of the industry and getting the metrics right in terms of number of users and agent seating and so on. So it is something that with the subscription model being slightly different to what you may have within your regular SMP support renewal, it's a discussion that we want to entertain with you and walk through what it looks like in terms of the size, complexity of your business and where you currently are with SMP pricing with regards to your support and maintenance, and how the subscription model can fit in. So definitely one of those ones that we'd have a sit down over a call to iron out. But we want to make it attractive and competitive as possible. I'm 2 minutes over. I'm going to do one more here. Can I make a request for an add-in? I mean, that's powerful. I really enjoyed Jeff and Marcus's walkthrough on add-ins. So the question here, maybe someone can take this, is, can I make a request for an add-in?
Jeff, I'm going to jump in, Steve.
Yep.
I came off mute as soon as I heard add-in. I'm on it. Yes is the answer. Yes. Yeah, please do. As I said earlier on, we want to hear from you. Add-ins, as all our products is customer request driven. So yes, we need you guys to help us define what's next. We've got lots of ideas, but we want to build what you want, not what we think's cool or interesting. So please do get in touch. The requests tend to come kind of in two ways. Existing customization that you've built, that someone's built, that's found in the community, and to turn that into an add-in. because maybe you don't want to run it, you know, in that kind of raw customization kind of state. Maybe you need a slightly more robust framework that add-ins provides. So if that's cool, or maybe it's a kind of whole new idea that's never been said before that you'd like to see as an add-in, also fine. Yeah, really excited to hear from you. So I'll reach out. I'll find out who asked that question and reach out. It sounds like maybe you've got an idea, but anybody else listening who's got one, then yeah, please do get in touch.
Excellent. All right, that's cool. Okay, I'm going to be respectful of time here. We're 3 minutes after the top of the hour. My last shameless plug to come back again. I came off camera just to give the thumbs up. Is our Cireson community. Some of these questions that we've asked are well positioned for this audience. It's truly an open floor. We sometimes have things to present either through the roadmap. Also, we just have it really, it's a water cooler event. People just can drop in. If you've done an LMS course, if you've just gone through some training with us, if you just want to be a fly on the wall and eavesdrop into other conversations with peers, this is an ideal opportunity. We'll get the mailing out to you every other week. We meet on a Friday, so look forward to that. So on that note, I'm just going to stop talking and just wish you all a great rest of your day. Thanks for attending our webinar, and we look forward to speaking to you and connecting with you soon. Okay, have a great day.